National Assembly meets with service chiefs over insurgency in the northeast, and lawmakers wade into the ongoing battle that has engulfed the Nigeria Football Federation. Hello, glad to be with you again on the program The Gavel. I'm Lanre Lasese. Now, the National Assembly is still on vacation, but some legislative activities still took place during the week. A joint committee on defense met to follow up on the approval of the state of emergency approved by the National Assembly for 3 northeastern states. The House Committee on Sport spent the better part of the week meeting different parties in a bid to resolve the conflict that continues to engulf the country's football. And we have a chat with a senator on the just concluded National Conference and their recommendations. Let's start with a report on committee activities during the week.
During the week, the House of Representatives Committee on Sports met with warring factions of the Nigerian Football Federation to seek an amicable resolution of the crisis rocking the football house. The chairman of the committee, Representative Godfrey Gaiya, had a closed-door meeting with the Sports Minister, Tamuno Danagogo. The committee also met with the Chris Giwa-led faction. On Thursday, the committee in its resolution urged all parties in the Nigerian Football Federation to meet as soon as possible to decide a new roadmap for the federation and schedule an election to bring in new officials.
That the agenda for Congress of August 26, 2014 was non-elective, as attested to by notice of NFF General Assembly issued duly by the General Secretary, reference NFF/GSO/GEN/Volume 12-118, that the NFF status in Section 28, Paragraph 4, provides that such agenda shall not be altered, which is supported by FIFA provisions. Since the August 26, 2014 Congress did not conform to NFF status or regulations, the committee urges all interested parties to have to recourse to the advice contained in FIFA letter of 3rd September 2014. The committee further implores the Congress to meet soonest to decide a new roadmap and schedule on election that will allow all eligible Nigerians to participate freely and fairly.
In another development, a joint committee of the National Assembly on Defense, after a 5-hour joint meeting with service chiefs led by the Chief of Defense Staff, Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade, expressed worry by the negative reports emerging on the activities of the Boko Haram sect in the states which are under emergency rule.
Well, we are told that several cities were taken over by the insurgents, but from this meeting we've been informed that it is not as it is speculated. Some of the stories are speculations. Yes, 1 or 2 are there that they've flown their flags. That is agreeable. But there is also a very strong hope that maybe in a couple of days or a couple of time, very soon, the story will be different. We've been assured that you just give them some little time, that story will be different. We've been informed that the presidency is doing much. They have been able to acquire new equipment, and many more are also coming on the way. We were informed that the soldiers' morals were very low, but today we found out that things are being done to reassure all those at the war front and to be sure that their morals are raised. This committee will report our findings to the two chambers as we resume plenaries. We're also going to make attempts to reach out to Mr. President and directly dialogue with him on certain gray areas to enable us smoothing them properly, so that we will encourage both the service chiefs and also those who are at the war front to do better than what they are doing.
Now, next is our chat with Senator Smart Adeyemi. He spoke on the national conference and how he thinks the report of the conference should be implemented.
Well, I think the national conference afforded us as a nation to know the feelings of Nigerians across the length and breadth of this country. The national conference equally enabled not those of us in the National Assembly, maybe the executive, to appreciate the need for a restructuring of Nigeria, which to me is long overdue. And I think, more importantly, how we should manage ourselves as a people. The report of the national conference, until when we have a copy to be able to do a proper analysis of their recommendation. But of course, I've read on page of newspapers, listened to some of their debates, and the bottom line to me is just the need for us to restructure, to carry out some boundary adjustment, and to create states, and to run a federal system of government. As Nigeria is today, one is actually confused as to what kind of system are we running. To me, it is neither a federal system nor a unitary system. I think it's just what the former military president, General Babangida, said, a little to the right, a little to the left. That's the kind of system I think we are running. A kind of a unique federal system, which to me is not really progressive. I hold the view that we must be courageous enough as a people to carry out a restructuring of how a federal system of government should be. Don't forget that before the advent of the former administration of Nigeria by the colonial master, we had our empires, we had our colonies, how people live. So we're more or less autonomous of each other. You know, that autonomy was there when the colonial master came. And they felt there was the need to harmonize it in such a manner that people who understood themselves, who have been together, could manage themselves well. Unfortunately, along the way, the colonial master didn't quite succeed about it, because they tend to, or they actually neglected some basic fact that yes, we are one people, but again, our diversity must be respected. You know, you must appreciate who I am, what I am, and I must appreciate who you are and what you are. I must not allow any system to swallow your identity away. I don't want my identity as a person, as an open Yoruba man, to be undermined. So we must appreciate ourselves. We must appreciate what it stands for. That is not to say we cannot remain a nation. We can still remain. We still remain a nation. The report of the national conference, pending when we receive it, we may not be able to. I may not actually be able to talk much about their recommendation. But I think the point they have succeeded in getting across is the need for restructuring. You know, the need for reviewing the structures that we have, our political structure and the political entities that form Nigeria, or that constitute what is called Nigeria today, as to whether we should retain them or not. Those have been some of the issues we have been discussing in the National Assembly anyway. You know, but until when we have a copy of the report, or if you have the privilege of letting me to get to know in details what they have recommended them.
You said you want a restructuring of a system of governance in Nigeria, specifically in what areas?
Well, you know, in a federal system of government, when you create states, you do not create state on the basis of just creating the state because you have the might to say, look, these people must be together. When you are creating states, or you are creating a state in the federal system of government, you must take into consideration the norms, value, the culture, how homogeneous are the people. Now, you do not create state by fiat in the federal system of government. And states are not supposed to be equal in the federal system of government. So states are supposed to manage the resources that are available for them. In fact, when you talk about a good administrator in the federal system of government, it is not in coming to Abuja or to the center to collect funds. It is in you in creating wealth for your people. That way you can say you are good, we have a good administrator in place. We have a good governor in place. We have a good government in place. It is not when you spend the money that is available from the center. It is when you create wealth, when you look at your environment and you're able to expose the hidden resources that are available. You work towards galvanizing socio-economic activities that will accelerate the development of the people. So this is where we've gotten it wrong. In Nigeria, people look at performance of an administrator of a governor by how many roads he's building, how many times he has gone to Abuja to collect the oil money. I think the emphasis must be, what are you generating? What are you contributing? And there's no state or local government area that is not endowed with one resource or the other that could help in improving the life of the people. Now, what I'm saying in essence is that I want to look at the possibility of restructuring Nigeria in such a manner that people will determine how and where they should be governed. Okay? People's identity must not be deliberately eroded. Okay? For instance, I'll give you two quick examples. The people who are from where we have the agitation for Adeyemi state now, if they are the Igbo-speaking people of Niger Delta and there is no any natural boundary or hindrances to make those people who speak Igbo in Delta to have their own state, for Christ's sake, let them have their state. Okay? You cannot just undermine people's identity. The Yorubas in Kogi and Kwara, if they want to come together as a state, because they are neighboring communities, why should you deliberately create barriers where there shouldn't be any barrier? So what I'm saying is that for people to be happy and for people to be patriotic, they must first and foremost be convinced with the structures, the political structures where they have found themselves. Now Nigeria was not really, or let me put it this way, the military created state was not by conquest. It was by military fiat, by order. Now, the time has come for us as a people to sit down and look at the political structure that we're running. Are we making progress?